Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Client Experiences. We're here today with Trey. And, Trey, I'll just let you introduce yourself a little bit. He's been in the program for about 6, 7, slightly more than 6 weeks now, a couple months now. I'll just let you introduce yourself, what you do, where you're from.
Yeah, sure. My name's Trey Cockrum. I'm 20 years old. Have two businesses. Have one called Co-Media, which is a social media marketing agency. I work with people actually fairly similar to Quasi, where they have an online program. We help them scale up using YouTube, Facebook ads, building funnels for them. That makes me about 15 to 20 grand a month on an average month. The other business that I have is the education side. I sell my own program, help people start and grow their agency. That makes me another 15 to 20 grand a month on the side, plus the coaching one-on-one. So that's what I've been doing. I invested in the program because I was noticing a lot of negative trends in my thought patterns. I was honestly, the stress, the negativity, it was getting to me. Even at my point, 20 years old, making good money, you can really find yourself in some negative thought patterns. I'm really not blind to that fact. And I knew that any money I could throw at this problem would be money well spent. And that's why I went with Quasi. I just saw some great reviews. I also knew Quasi. I got to see him grow his business from the back end, and we've just been good friends. I was like, man, I got to pull the trigger on this. Hopped on a call, no objections. I'm just like, charge me whatever, dude. I just got to fix this problem. Went through the program. Loved the material, started implementing the stuff as soon as I possibly could, saw a really good spike specifically in just my mental fortitude on a day-to-day basis. Running and owning a business at 20 years old, you run into a lot of rejection, you run into a lot of issues. My ability to just be like, screw it, whatever. I'm just going to face the music of this business and make it rock. I really honestly, without the fortitude, the mental fortitude that I was brought, I would not be able to continue looking in the future, knowing that I'll be here a year from now, to be honest with you. Because I think without the program, I probably would have gotten to a point mentally where I just kind of lose it. I would just go nuts with all the issues. And as well, revenue's gone up. Literally, revenue has gone up directly because of the program. Just the mindset shift of creating emotional distance purposefully, vision casting, these sorts of things, dude. Honestly, it's changed my daily routine. It's changed how I sort of view how I operate on a day-to-day basis. And it's forced me to be a lot more intentional about really what I let in here. I love the concept of outgoing thoughts, ingoing thoughts, being more careful with what happens subconsciously. It's just been a paradigm shift, man. So that's where I'm at. My goal is $100,000 a month in profit. It's to be up there with Quasi soon. I want to be there by the end of 2020, and I see no reason it doesn't happen. Honestly, before the program, I was pretty doubtful about the concept of that happening. But at this point, with the program and with the help that I've gotten from Quasi, including some people that I've invested in as well with just direct technical business help, there's no reason it doesn't happen. No reason.
Totally, man. Totally. So I'm also very, very curious about your story. When did you first, because you're 20 years old, and last month after joining the program, you hit your first 35K month.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So at 20 years old, doing a 35K month, that's some serious shit. Yeah. Cool. Tell me a bit about your story about because usually when people, because obviously you dropped out of college. You didn't go to college.
I didn't even actually technically finish high school. So, I just went right into business for myself. Just to give you some background on myself, everybody's got a moment, man. Everybody's got a time in their life this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Mine was, I was 17 years old. I was actually at the time a wedding photographer. And I'm not even kidding. If I showed you this shelf back here, I've got a bunch of photo gear on it. And I loved shooting weddings. I loved working with couples. I loved the experience of working with people. And I wasn't making that much money, probably 2 or 3 grand a month, nothing crazy. But 17, obviously, it's good money. But now looking back, it's not that much. And what happened was I went through a house fire, lost all my gear, owed 15 grand in refunded weddings because I couldn't shoot it because I wasn't covered. Insurance didn't cover me because I was 17. You can't have insurance at 17. And we were on this lag of 8 months where we didn't receive an insurance check. And that 8 months was insane for me. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. I have 4 siblings. I was homeschooled. My father's an entrepreneur. And this was the first time in my life where I saw we don't have money. And not only do we not have money, but you don't have access to literally to eat. We were spending three grand on rent on a house because we didn't realize that we wouldn't have money. We went straight to we have money, we'll be fine. But reality is we're spending a lot of money. It was an 8-month period where we're just screwed. Literally, we don't know what we're going to do for the next 8 months. And I remember this was about Christmas time too. My parents sat me down and said, Trey, honestly, we're not going to be able to have a Christmas this year. And it was pretty heartbreaking, just thinking about it kind of sucks. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of division in my family, a lot of issues. I got really close to my brother, specifically in this time, and he and I had never really been super close. Not that we have any resentment, but we just like, when you're in that time of pressure, you just move close to the people that you love. And that was when I realized I really want to snap it into gear. Like I literally just wanted to make enough money to give us a Christmas, which is like maybe like what, 2-3 grand or something. And so I started dabbling with online business, playing around there. Started delivering marketing services to wedding photographers because I was able to grow my business fairly quickly, considering the typical wedding photographer curve. Used that as leverage, got some clients, and that was when I first discovered the agency model. I didn't even know what I was doing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then realized the real asset was just marketing in general. So I started going for a niche that has less of a bottleneck, which is online information products, because I knew that I had some friends who were doing well with that. So I just tapped into that, and it was doing way better than wedding photographers, fired my wedding photography clients, and I've been here just about ever since. So I've been doing this for about a year and a half now. So yeah, that's sort of my story. It comes from like a serious scarcity moment, and it just forced me into action. And
Dude,
I've
that
been
is so awesome.
the past 3 or 4 months, but it's been the best decision I've made for my business so far.
Dude, that is absolutely amazing. So you evolved from wedding photography to having your own agency.
Yeah.
And you know what I admire about you? You're like very, very quick with your decisions. Like, because you've joined all the communities I've joined, programs that I've joined, investments in like courses and everything. You never hesitate. You're like, all right, Quasi, what did you do to grow your XYZ? What did you do to grow your YouTube, everything, mindset, and all of that?
Yeah.
Right. So you just pull the trigger on it. And I think that's like what everyone's missing, because people always hesitate. Even I myself, I always hesitate before I make these big decisions, even though money isn't a problem. It's just like that mindset that used to be like rooted in me. That scarcity hard to break free of.
Money being like a thing, like that's the thing is I'm in the same spot. Like I could literally, like, I'm not even kidding. If I just got rid of like a few, like honestly, dude, the amount of money I make is stupid. Like it's at this point at 20, I pay like $3 grand a month to live in this apartment. Like this is a bougie little apartment, like downtown from where I grew up. It's literally just like, number one, because I love the apartment. Number two, because it's helped my business grow. Taking sales calls, taking appointments from this angle right here literally increases my conversion rates.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, like, jumping into this apartment, dude, it was like a quick thing. I saw it literally, I was down here. I could see the bench I was sitting on, drinking coffee with my girlfriend at the time. And I'm like, is that an apartment up there? And this was like my first like 10 grand a month. And she was like, I think it is. And so I got online, found it, and within a week I owned it, and I leased it, and it was mine. Yeah. And then like, that's the thing, dude, as I learned this concept, and it's in your program, the concept, I think you speak about it in your own way though. It's the concept of the mirror. Like how you behave is how you get behaved to. And like, if I want clients that are willing to invest with me quickly with trust, I have to do the same for other people. So on our call, man, like you remember our call, like the only question I had was just a slight reservation. I'm like, what's the refund policy? And you're like, dude, don't even ask that. Just hop in. I'm like, you're right. Let's just go, And I just hopped in, it committed me, and I went through the program and like never looked back. So really it's that quick, and you think like in your rational brain, you think like, oh, well, it's spending money. It's like, isn't that, well, not inherently. How you treat money is how others treat their money with you.
Totally, man.
100%. And I learned that the hard way, because I for so long was living in scarcity, afraid to like spend, afraid to see my money go.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of people, I myself included, I was in that frame where I was just hold on to whatever I had rather than looking at the longer term of it. Right. And I think this really slowed me down for a long time. Like, dude, if I was 17, I wouldn't be thinking of that shit. Like I wasn't into like, entrepreneurship, make money, do actual serious, actually build something for my life. I was more into having that temporary fun, not sacrificing for that longer term. I couldn't even envision that. I would just be playing video games like 12 hours a day, just satisfying this immediate need, Right. So it's, what do you feel really, apart from that event, do you think that event, what was the biggest game changer for you that got you into that drive, that mode?
Honestly, man, like I just realized that like in all areas of life, so like business is one area of life and it reflects who I am directly. Okay. And I, if you follow me, so I've got some stuff online. I've got a YouTube channel, all this stuff, and I'm sure
I'm gonna link all that down there.
Yeah. I'd love if you would. And I talk very often about like how I'm in entrepreneurship first and foremost, obviously, to grow, like as a person, to let my business show me who I am and force me to grow. Like one thing that I've done that honestly people would think I'm like an idiot for if they didn't see it in context is that I'm stuck in this lease. Like I have to pay this money, you know? And you think like, holy frick, dude, you're 20. Why would you do that? But for me, it's forced me. I have the next 6 months to a year planned out. I know what I'm going to do. I've got creative partnerships lined up. The bills are paid. You know, I could pay this rent ahead, 10 months if I absolutely had to, and it's just like little things like that where you're kind of cornering yourself kind of on purpose. Because at first it was just make a little money for Christmas. But then it became, holy cow. And by the way, I made like way more than 2 or 3 grand. I forced that feeling of like a gun to my head. I have to make this work. I knew somehow, like subconsciously, instinctually, that if I just force myself into a corner, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it work, because I have no other option, man. I didn't finish high school. Don't have a GED, like literally not a single credential to my name, However, my resume looks amazing. If I have to get a job, my resume looks really damn good. I'll be fine, But that being said, didn't go to college, didn't get a high school diploma or anything like that. So I knew that if I forced myself, I would figure it out. Like, and that's definitely not for everybody. But I encourage you, if you're watching this and you're inspired by my story, you're inspired by where I'm at, dude, like not only pull the trigger on Quasi's program, because that's a great place to start with put yourself in the corner. You got to make some material work. But not only that, it'll force you into that mindset of like the long term, like honestly, dude, you could have charged me like 10, 20 grand for the information in the program and I wouldn't have blamed you, just considering the amount of impact that, the stuff can have in my business, like pretty much immediately, nonetheless, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, what it will be able to do. So, I'm excited. Maybe even I have my business at 200 grand a month in profit, like a year and a half from now, and we have me back on the channel. I'm just like, here, you have this old interview of me at like 30 or 40 or whatever. You've got this one over here of me at like 200. And it's, what effect did the program have on that cycle?
Yeah. I think like the biggest reason why I was able to go from 0 to 100K months in my business, because like I see a lot of entrepreneurs who are in this same community, in the same groups, trying to do the same things, but one person takes a year to get their first client, other person gets it within their first week of the program. Right? Yeah. So it's this internal world, this foundation. People, going from 0 to 100K months within a year of starting your business, it's unheard of. Like in this community, it's just unheard of.
Yeah.
So when I really think of it, like what is the biggest difference that I have, what's the edge that I have over other people? It's really this internal world. Having this neat will have it, like you said, the mirror. It'll start to translate into every single area of your life. If you keep your room clean, it's going to make your mind clean.
Yep.
So it's like becoming very, very careful about all of those little things.
Yeah.
But even on top of that, you said something interesting. You said you forced yourself into a corner, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, oh yeah, no, I have to force myself to take action. I should do this. But then they get too attached to it. But I think the interesting thing that you did there, and an important distinction in that, is you made success the only option.
Yep.
Like there was no choice. Like failure wasn't even an option. When that happens, when every single one of your efforts gets channeled into success, dude, that's when amazing shit starts to happen. So
yeah,
I think
100%. And that's the thing, is a part of why I invested in the program is I built all these systems like to sort of manufacture that feeling of pressure. And what happened was I began to shut down, not wake up under that pressure. I literally began, like I had days where I was like, I didn't want to get out of bed. Like I'm sitting here in a $3,000 a month apartment. I've got client work I have to do. I've got coaching calls to get on. I've got sales to make, and I don't even want to get up because it's just too much pressure, And so I knew that it's because I know this now, it's because I was putting too much weight on these things. I had to detach. I had to like let go and like just, it's the balance. It's that state of flow, and I had to just be like, all right, you know what? Like I'm not doing this because I want any particular result. I'm doing this because right now I'm breathing, alive, and doing it. And that's the only reason I'm doing it, And also because I enjoy it. And I had to tap back into that vision casting, like, running a business that I love running, getting results for like, right now we've got 2 clients over $100,000 a month in profit, which is just amazing. Did not ever think I'd be able to do that, and we've like, that's from like 40, 50 grand a month. We've scaled them, like literally doubled their business, and to be able to say that I've done that, like even just hearing it come out of my mouth, it's like, holy frick. Like I did not think I'd be able to do that. It's such an out there concept. So I don't know, dude, that's kind of where I'm at. And I think the program primarily, like my favorite thing that we talked about in the program two things. The concept of RAS and reprogramming your reticular activating system, like, really just the nervous system in your body, how you respond to stimulus and training that. And in the program, you talk about, like, it could take a while for some people, and that's totally okay. It's to be expected. But honestly, for me, like, I just started, like, going hard on this concept. And within, like, a week or two, I started seeing a different way of, like, I'm not even kidding. I got asked to give a $5,000 refund for one of our clients. Like, all honesty, we didn't deliver in the way we could have. No big deal. I don't take it personally. It's just a business lesson. 6 months ago, that would have knocked me off my horse. But I took it. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm detached. If I have to give the refund, I have to give the refund. I got on the meeting, totally detached, ready to give them the money. And not only did they not want to get a refund, they actually wanted to pay me more because they were so satisfied with the meeting and what I gave them. And it's just like, I'm telling you, the power of detaching and the power of just reprogramming how you respond to stimulus.
Dude, totally. That is so key. It's like, kind of like a concept of a fly buzzing against a pane. When you're so attached to it, you can't take a step back and get a bird's eye view of it. That's literally what detaching is.
Yeah.
You take a step back, you get things into perspective. Then you can see the openings that are. But the openings aren't even in your worldview if you're so attached to, like, oh no, I'm going to have to give the refund.
Right. And the brain is naturally, like, negative, like, it just, if you let go, like, and you don't focus, on just the basics, like, it will tend towards the negative. And that's just my experience. I don't know if that's experience for everybody or what you think of that. But, like, if you leave something still, like, it's the law of, I don't know. It's basically anything left alone will depreciate. It will lose value. It will begin to break. And it's the same with our mentality. Like, if you're not actively working on your worldview, your mentality, your mindset, like, it's going to fall into some weird crack, some weird hole, some weird, like, spot. And to dig it back out, it's going to take so much time, and, like, that's what I experienced. Like, it's such a crazy feeling to have to, like, literally sort of step back from your worldview, how you think, and look at your mind and be like, what's wrong with this thing? Why the frick is it not doing what I want it to do? And that's what the program kind of taught me to do, is to kind of just, like, be able to, like not be in the thing trying to solve the problems there, but almost be, like, separate from it, looking at it and being aware of, like, just looking at it objectively. Like, it is not good, it's not bad, it just is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is when you're over here, you think you'd be disassociated, so therefore you have less control. No, you have more control over the state of that thing, because you're no longer afraid to challenge it, because it's not you anymore.
Totally.
So I'm able to just kind of step back from my mentality and just be like, whatever. Like, my body right now is, even when I'm excited, same thing. Like, I don't even want to get too horribly excited. Like, even when things are going good, I have to step back and just be like, all right, that's cool. I'm glad my body feels that way. I'm glad my brain feels that way. But and I'll live in this moment, enjoy it. But also, let's stay on track and stay consistent, because it's that consistency and that steady daily input. And me, I've told you before, I don't work any more than 5 or 6 hours a day. I cap it to keep myself just real steady in my business, right? And that's one thing that I've implemented as well. So step back, cap my work day, make it only valuable things that move the needle in my business. And, that's all stuff that I learned from you, man.
Absolutely, man. So the biggest thing I also see, interesting you should mention that, a lot of people feel like they should be doing something, right? They get into this massive action culture and they feel they should be doing the 12-hour days. They got to be, I must do this. I must, even if I have to force myself, I must work the 6 days a week. But after a certain point, your efficiency, like you said to us, the efficiency just drops. You can't perform at the same level anymore. So it's interesting to see that, you've gotten into a paradigm where you're okay with it, but at the same time, it's also working with you.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing is, I think a good way to summarize your program is it's the ultimate program on working smart and not hard on, like, your mental output. So, like, if you're doing anything, like, you're doing anything mentally challenging in business or in life, or, like, which is most people aren't working, like, a physically, hard job. It's mostly mental work. That's the culture we live in. Western society, we're primarily brain workers right now.
Totally.
That's why we need more REM sleep. That's why we need, more brain fuel. That's why we need to be eating, like, literally people, like, optimize their health just to get the extra little efficiency out of their brain on a daily basis. And so, like, with your program, it's basically like, how to make your brain work for and not against you. It's almost like the concept of making your money work for you, not against you. It's like, instead of spending $5,000 on like a pair, like a freaking Gucci jacket or some crap like that, I could spend $5,000 on ads and turn it into, 8 or 9 grand worth of clients, and then spend that back on ads and see it turn into 18 to 20. And then invest it into my team, make them better, sharper, so we get greater results for people we work with. Invest in ads to sell the course, or on somebody to come in and help teach something in the course. Who knows? And it's like, it's the same thing with your brain. It's like, you got to plant sort of seeds in your brain that kind of work for you, so you're not constantly like measuring your output solely by how much time you spend. Time should be the last thing you measure in how valuable your work has been that day, that week, that month. It's not how much time you put in. That's a huge shift I had to make, and in part because of your program, I made that shift. It's not time. The whole massive action culture. Yeah. Take massive action. Like, it's a good concept, especially for a beginner. But truly and honestly, like, massive action only goes so far. Like, it really only takes you so far. And then on the other side of massive action, your business reflects who you are. So if you build a business working 12-hour days, you're going to end up building a business that makes you work 12-hour days. It's going to reflect you. It's going to learn from you. It's kind of like, tame this thing. So I've built my business in such a way my clients expect me to not be available past 6 p.m. My students, my team member, they know. So your business kind of reflects, the patterns that you give it. So you literally want to build something that responds to the lifestyle that you want, how you want to live. So like, after this call, I think I've got some plans to just hang out with my girlfriend, and other plans to just chill out. I've got like a whole 4 hours just to do whatever I want, and honestly, like, it's so much better than working out until 11 p.m. or something like normal people do. It's just, shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be doing it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I know a lot of people just go to bed with their phones next to them, wake up with the phone, and then go to bed, and then wake up with the phone again.
Yep.
Just outreach, calls, and everything.
Yeah. They're never assigning things to their subconscious. They're always consciously solving problems.
Yep. Exactly. No, that's absolutely key. It's like, you need to be in control. You can't relinquish control and let something higher control it and help you deliver it.
Right. 100%. It's always a forceful, and that's how humans work, man. Like, we want to know that something, and it's totally natural. Like, I don't think there's anything immoral or unethical about putting in like extra work hours, but it's just not the most effective way to do it, especially in the digital environment. Like, these tools are so powerful. Like, you don't use a drill better by tensing all the muscles in your body and focusing you just press the freaking button, so your job is just to figure out what are the buttons you need to press. That's all your job is. And once you figure out what those buttons are, which again takes some disassociation, it takes some, subconscious sort of just like not worrying about the details, and allowing it to just kind of fall back into your subconscious. Getting more sleep, for example, has been huge. Just like, let my brain do its thing, and I wake up and I'm like, oh, I didn't really have that idea before. I love that concept of just like, instead of all these 6 complicated steps, what if I just do this one thing and it does, the equivalent of that plus 10. You just find all these loopholes.
100%. 100%. A lot of business people ask me like, Quasi, why don't you just make multiple offerings? Like, why don't you just make a cheap, like $997 course and then run ads to it? I'm like, dude, no, that just defeats the whole purpose of it. I want to keep it simple. I want to do one thing and I want to do it really well. Yeah. And I mean, that's the reason this reality mastery program is the way it is, and that's why our clients are getting such crazy results, because I focus on this one thing rather than divulging my attention into multiple different things.
100%, dude. And then at which point it's like, you're almost always, even when I'm hanging out with like my girlfriend or my family or whoever it is, like subconsciously my brain's kind of just like thinking of stuff. And like literally the only work that I do outside of this 5-6 hour span is Evernote on my phone. Sometimes an idea comes, like, I'm just like, literally, I'm not even kidding. My girlfriend's favorite show is Gilmore Girls. Okay. And we were sitting there, like, I had her like on my arm. We're just like watching Gilmore Girls, and like, I don't dislike Gilmore Girls, but she really likes it. So we watched Gilmore Girls. And I just have her like on my arm, just like, we're watching it, and I'm just like, oh, it's like a really good idea. Like, it just pops into my head. I'm just write that down, implement it tomorrow.
I always have that. I always have those, especially with YouTube video ideas.
Yes.
And my wife is like watching the thing with the 3 witches. I don't know what that show is. Can't remember, but anyway.
Yeah, down, like, you're not even thinking about it. It just happens. Yeah. And you just gotta let that happen. Like that is the process in my mind, and in my opinion, that moves the needle like just so much further than anything else for me right
But
you
dude,
know?
that only happens because you have clarity on where you want to move. Once you have clarity around like that vision, you actually want to where you want to take it. Ideas will start to come to you that open up the doors to that goal. But
Exactly.
people, they fight against that. They focus on the wrong things. You know, they're more focused on what they're trying to avoid rather than
Yes.
what they truly want in their lives.
So good, man. That is so good. That's a huge thing, dude. Like, you gotta like, dude, that's so good because I think people fall into relationships because they're afraid of loneliness, not because they,
Exactly, dude. I've had
yeah,
so many people come into the program. They're like, oh, you know, I asked them, why do you want to be in a relationship? They're like, oh, I don't want to die alone. I'm like, dude, that's your
dude,
motivation for being in a
get out of
relationship.
that relationship, man. That you shouldn't even like. You need to be in the first place. Like that's such a scarce place to operate from. Like,
Totally.
I really believe, like, like, I think a lot of people hop on your program for relationship purposes, and like I didn't even mention the fact that the program helped me with my like,
Dude, I want to hear about that. I was going to ask you about that next. Like that was a big
yeah,
thing for us to achieve together as well. Like,
like honestly, and like my girlfriend's name's Lily. If Lily's watching this, hi Lily. I don't think I've told you this before, Lily. So this would be weird for you to hear this in third person. But like, yeah, like a lot of the things that I struggle with as an entrepreneur, like what's interesting is the problems that I face as a 20-year-old kid are so alien to a lot of the problems that most people face at my age. Like I'm just not like a relatable person, you know? And so like I was like literally, I'm not even kidding. I was so scared of like getting into dating because I felt like I don't really deserve, like people don't understand me, like problems I'm facing are so out there whacked crazy, like I'm talking about like problems where like 10 grand is on the line and I have an hour to figure it out. Like who deals with that at 20? I don't know many people that do, and the people that are dealing with that, like I have to pay them for their time. So like I don't know, like I don't have people that are just directly in my network that are dealing with these things. And so when it came to dating, like I don't know, dude. Like I literally thought I had so many false beliefs. Like one of the things that I thought was like I am like untouchable, and the only reason somebody would want to be with me is because of my money.
mm,
Like that was a huge thing for me. Another thing was like I am like I think I'm a very confident, charming, funny dude, but I think I'm intimidating, and I'm scared of intimidating people, and I'm scared of like being too much for them. And I'm not even kidding. Like the first time, but I removed that belief. I was like, you know what? If I intimidate them, that's okay. I can work through it. Like just that idea of like, who cares? Like disassociation completely. Like if somebody is intimidated, if somebody thinks I'm a nerd, if somebody doesn't understand my problems, like isn't that a part of being a human being, and isn't that a part of just living? Like isn't that just totally normal, and shouldn't I be okay with that? Like why is that actually a problem? It's only a problem because I'm giving it negative attention, which is something that you talk about.
100%.
I could probably give it positive attention, and the positive attention I can give it is I have money. I could take my wife out to freaking Europe right now and it wouldn't matter. I could like, there's all kinds of positives to this, but I focus on the negative because I give it that negative attention because I'm scared.
It's what you focus on, right?
Yeah,
Totally.
what you focus on, you give power behind it. So I stopped focusing on the negative, and I started giving the exact same concepts, like my weirdness, like positive attention. I'm like, I think it's kind of cool that like, and honestly, for some people, it's gonna be so weird to hear that a 20-year-old kid who's making 30 to 40 grand a month in profit has to deal with this. But like sometimes I don't like that I make the amount of money I make because it makes me such a foreign entity. Like I'm a Christian. I go to a Bible study on Monday evenings. None of these kids are like, they're all in business college, like gosh, business college. They're all like, just like they don't have anything figured out. They're so lost in terms of like the academic financial direction of their life, and I'm just like, I don't know how to, like, I just sit there as like a walking, living, breathing, like, like, opposite of all of their beliefs. And
Dude, oh my God.
it's
Like that hits so hard home. Like I'm having to unfollow people on Instagram now because it's like, okay, I don't want to see this stuff about you complaining about, how work sucks I'm posting a meme about how work sucks on a Monday because I'm actually looking forward to work and like making money, closing clients and, getting my clients results.
Yeah, right. Right. And like, dude, that's the thing with relationships in general. It's not because, how you view relationships with women romantically is also like the same false beliefs you have there is also the same false beliefs you're gonna have just generally socially in other areas, like with just friends even. It's
All
all
transfers.
it all transfers. And so I was scared of being like weird. Like I was honestly, like I was scared of being weird Like, and like, it's so weird because if I could just disassociate and like, just take a step back, like I'm 20 years old, I'm not ugly, I've got money, and I'm fairly charming, and like, I'm really pretty set in terms of like, dating. And I've got a wonderful girlfriend who I freaking like love. And like, I haven't even known her that long. And I'm just like head over heels. Like, I'm ready to just like, if you're watching this, Lily, like, I really love you. And like, I didn't know, like, yeah. And I didn't know that I could even like, I didn't know that I could do that. I honestly thought like I was so ready to just let go and not date until I'm like 30. Like, and I've told her that a million times. I'm like, literally, I was so ready to just be like we both have a business mentor named David. And he was like, Trey, like, you just gotta like, don't date till you're 30. I'm like, okay.
You almost listened to him.
Yeah.
He's watching this right now.
He's watching this right now, and he's like, darn it, like, Trey, like, yeah. And sure, it probably does affect revenue in a small way. Sure. But it's a holistic life I'm trying to build,
Yeah, but what's the point of the revenue if you can't even enjoy the revenue? Like,
I don't want money if it's just mine.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing too. Giving for me has been huge, man. Like, literally the biggest spikes in my business come when I just generously give. And, I really, I think, it's because of disassociation. Being a Christian, I think there's some serious spiritual stuff going on. Like, God honors that, man. Like, if you are good with your finances, one of my common beliefs, one of the things that has honestly pushed me forward in business is like, I think we both believe in this concept to a degree. How you treat your stuff, like, the world kind of honors. In my eyes, God honors and begins to trust you as you use the assets you're given. Like, if you give and if you're generous and if you invest and use it right, like, dude, that is honored on a plane that neither of us fully understand. That's been a huge thing for me. It's like, totally. When buddies are in need, like whenever I have, like, literally I paid a buddy's rent recently because his business was going crappy. I'm like, whatever, man, give you 30 days, like, pick yourself back up, stuff like that. So
that's awesome, man. Wow. That's amazing. I'd really love to hear that. So also, I was going to ask you about, how do you see yourself, like, in your, because I understand that your revenue's gone up completely, but in your existing relationships, your clients getting results. Do you think that had an impact, you going through the program, you becoming this detached version where you can objectively look at things, but also, come at it with a different energy? It's 2.0 Trey. How has that affected your client results and everything?
No, for sure it's affected my client results. And I think primarily because like when I think about it, it's almost like something, let me draw a parallel with sleep. Sometimes I know sleep is important, and I'm lying in bed. I'm like, I need to sleep, and I can't sleep because I know I need it so badly. It's, but you need to be able to relax. Like, your body's not going to fall asleep while you're thinking about your Oura Ring score. You need to just relax, Yeah. And like, it's the same with my business. Like, if I'm so closely tied and obsessed with the metrics on like a campaign, honestly, like, it affects the campaign. If I'm so closely tied with like getting a sale, it affects the sale negatively often. Desperation is just a cruddy place to operate from. Like, people, like, all businesses is people. All of business is people, and people don't like working with, paying, doing business with people who are scarce. They don't like it, and scarce isn't just the money in your bank account. It's how you view money. You can be abundant with zero. It's a mindset. It's a perspective, and so abundance isn't a literal, like, $1 million in cash in the bank. It's just how you view the thing,
Totally. You can be broke temporarily, but still have an abundance.
Oh, 100%, dude. And I'm more excited to do business with that person than I am the guy who's got cash and is abundant, because
100%. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, if you're relying on your currency to feel abundant, or you're relying on like your relationships to feel abundant, like, that's you can't lean on things with that. Come from, like, you have to have a true abundance mindset. And like, one of the things, there's this rabbi that I follow. His name's Daniel Lapin.
I think you're gonna say Ellie.
Yeah. He talks about how success is like candlelight and not cake, where like you can have one candle and you can light another candle with that, and the first candle isn't less lit after lighting the second one. Like, that's how money spreads. It, like, really truly, it grows, it spreads. It's the same with relationships. It's the same with opportunity. It's the same with, and the only bottleneck in how much value we can have, not just in currency, but in all areas, relationships, impact, everything. The only bottleneck is how many people we have and how free those people are. That's the only bottleneck. And I love that concept. It's not like cake where like one person succeeds, so therefore there's less cake. He's taken a slice and now you have to fight for the rest. That's not how it works. You know, and when I really realized that, it not only made me less guilty, to be honest with you, over being successful, because especially growing up in like a Western Christian, like they have some serious scarcity issues. They really do. Like money's the root of all evil. It's a very common thing. You know, greed. Don't be greedy. You know, like these.
You shared an interesting quote on the Instagram. You said, "Rich people go to hell" or something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. This concept of like the rich, like it's harder for the rich man to get into heaven than it is to fit a camel through the hole of a needle.
Yeah.
The eye of a needle. Yeah. Gosh, that keeps so many Christians from making the impact they can make in the marketplace, dude. That right there, that little line just keeps so many people poor, desperate, scarce, frustrated, unable to have the type of impact that they can have in their life. You know, it's rough, dude. Like the original translation of that does not equate to anywhere near what we brought it to today. English is a crappy language. We've really screwed up a lot of stuff, you know? So yeah, dude, that's a big thing for me too. And the program helped me with that as well, because I think one of the big things that I had to do was just be like, all right, like, again, take a step back. Like what's actually going on? And like, it allows me to kind of see my intent too. Like when I'm not so vested in the moment and in the emotions, I can kind of know my intent better. And like, is my intent truly like, cause I, you know, I am of faith. Like, is my intent truly to like deny my God in order to make it? Like, no, like I'm still 100%. And so I'm not at all like going against any core beliefs. And I know that when I take a step back. But when I'm in that place and I'm allowing emotions and scarcity and fear and these sorts of things to dwell in my head, then that fear kind of finds a place to exist. It's not so much that there's something to be afraid of. It's that fear happens and it finds a place to exist and it finds something to attach to. And that was one that it attached to for a long time is what I'm doing okay in accordance with my belief system. You know, that was one for a while. It kept me from growing.
You were making it a reality, right? It's not the fears and the doubts that are the problem, but the identification with those that really make it a reality.
Exactly. It's the attention you give it. Yeah. Just like the problem with like feeling weird. Like if I give that negative attention, then I probably will end up weird and I probably will end up with issues. But if I give it positive attention, it's like, instead of being like, oh, I make a lot of money, so I'm therefore kind of unreachable. It's, oh, I make a lot of money, therefore, you know, I stand out. You know, it's like the same thing, but with a different sort of attention, you know? And it's like, who cares? It's good to stand out. Like stand out, have a message, you know? It's not, I'm afraid to shine. It's more like I'm afraid not to. Or not even I'm afraid not to. It's that I'm supposed to, and that anything else is like not meant for me.
Totally, man.
Yeah.
Dude, it's been amazing getting to understand your experience and, you know, what you went through this journey. You know, dude, it's been a short, like couple months, but a lot of change can happen in a very, very short amount of time when this happens internally. Yeah.
It's all internal, man. Yeah, and I'm. It's been a pleasure being on the channel, and I think one of the core things that I've really realized is that there's nothing, and I knew this to be true. Like As a Man Thinketh, James Allen is one of my favorite books of all time, and I'm sure you've read it. But you know, the concept of there's nothing in your external world that doesn't start or mirror your internal world. Like I knew that, but there was never any like actionable steps to like actually like work on my internal world. You know, I just kind of felt like, oh, like I'm just going to think positive, you know, and that's like the extent that it went for a long time, you know. But now it's like, no, like there's some science to this. There's some proven concepts. There's some like ancient proven stuff here from really wise people that did this, saw amazing results. You know, things like turning beliefs into conviction, allowing conviction to drive your life, you know, and understanding that cycle. So like, you know, one thing that I've even done is like, literally, I have it written here, $100,000 a month in profit. I talk about it confidently, and I no longer feel like that is misaligned. You know, I no longer feel like $100,000 a month is like a forced idea. I think I could 100% do it.
Dude, that is so key, because that reminds me of that time when I went to open up a bank account and they were like, oh, what do you project your annual revenue to be? I'm like, oh, 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then the lady looked at me weird. I was like, Yeah, 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna happen.
I just know it will. And yeah, 100%. And then like recently I applied for a credit card for my business, and I was actually at the bank, and it was so funny because I was with my brother. Um, and like my brother is not very businessy. He doesn't really care to talk much about it, but I was getting him a debit card as a favor. We were hanging out that day, and he wanted a debit card. He's like 17. So I'm just like doing errands with him. And I'm like applying for a credit card, and I'm like, they're like, so what's yearly income? And I gave them the number, and they're like, how are you, like, what? You're making that much money? I'm like, yeah. Like, what's your rent? I'm like, like $3,000. And they're like, okay, all right. And like literally the bank teller's like, okay. Like, he's like, okay, all right, good for you, man. But then also he's like he was like wanting to give me like advice. He's like, be careful, like, but you can't let that voice in, man. Like,
Yeah.
I get it all the time. I get so much unsolicited advice from adults who know better. It's crazy.
Because if you let that voice in, it's like cancer. It's gonna grow. It's literally gonna grow. It's gonna be, oh, now I have to be careful because I think I need to be careful. Now the world is after me.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to become ingrained and grows more and more.
It does, dude.
But yeah, man, just to really wrap this up, one last question to ask you. After going through this program, who would you recommend the program to? And
yeah, good question, man. So I would recommend it to show myself. If I look at myself objectively, I look back at my past. Scarcity, fear, anxiety, like, dude, it's not just a business thing. Like, I think Quasi goes hard after business people, and honestly, it's perfect for them. And frankly, if you're at like 5, 6, 7 grand a month and like you've been stuck there for a year, guaranteed it's this. You just got to make the leap. Okay. If you haven't gotten your first client, let's say you're doing a similar business model to me where you're like running an agency, haven't got your first client yet, having an issue, like breaking through, like with your sales or whatever, like, honestly, dude, I couldn't tell you. It's all up here. There's no tactical, like, I tell my students this all the time because I have my own course on helping people run their own agency, right? And we've got people literally in here that have scaled to like $20, $30, $40,000 a month in profit. And the main thing that I help them realize with that is that there's no technical ultimately that will help you. Like, it is all in here. And your program is the best, like, encapsulation of the in here that I have found yet. And I've spent like 40 grand on like self-education and all these sorts of things. Like, I've spent a lot of money. And yours is just the best, hands down. So who do I recommend it to? Small business owners. If you're around my age, especially, this is a broken culture, honestly, to be trying to grow a business in. It just honestly is. We have so many broken paradigms. If you've grown up in this culture, grown up with phones in your hand, grown up with media, like, just cut it all out. Let Quasi's program be your like little micro religion for like a month and just go hard. Like, it's so good. And then on the other end, relationship issues, honestly, like, if you are dealing with any sorts of like scarcity, like if you're a guy or a girl and you feel like, you're not worthy of a relationship, you feel like, you're scared that you will die alone more than you are excited the prospect of having somebody that you're gonna love, like, it will literally help you fix that. And that might sound a little out there crazy woo-woo to some people, but it's just simple concepts that you can practice day to day that will fix these issues for you. And I'm no longer like, and I love Lily, but I love her and I'm not afraid of losing her. And that gives me a totally different like perspective. It's not because I have options. It's because I'm not afraid of losing her, because I know that ultimately.
But that's when you can love someone truly. Because
that's when you can love someone truly, is when
you let them be.
Not attached to them.
So key, dude.
You don't need them.
Time to realize that.
Yeah. And I read a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it talked about how codependence or interdependence starts with fully internalized independence. You cannot have interdependence until you have independence. And honestly, like, Quasi's program helps you with that independence. It helps you with that mental independence, that feeling of abundance, not being afraid of what happens. And I think I'll end my interview with this, like, the hungry don't get fed. That's what a good friend of mine says all the time. It's like, the hungry don't get fed. And if in business, if you are trying to get a relationship, who knows what you're trying to do, and you're out there and you're desperate and you're scarce for it, you got to cut that. You got to eliminate your hunger, and you have to be you have to be completely detached from the outcome. Okay. And often once you do that, the outcome not only comes easier, or you realize you're going after the wrong outcome completely. And that's just as good as getting the outcome, is to realize that what you've been doing this whole time isn't where you're supposed to be. So good stuff.
Dude, this was amazing. I had such a great time talking to you. I'm even learning so much. dude, just after this interview with you. So thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Absolutely.
Trey's YouTube channel, his Instagram will be linked down there for you guys to check out. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope this was
Pleasure. Thank you so much, Posy. Keep doing what you're doing. Massive blessings to you. No reason you're not 200, 300, $400,000 a month in profit. I want to see it happen. Very, very happy to get to know you and be in your program. So thank you so much.
awesome, man.